Okay, Unit 4, Lecture 4A, we're talking about events leading towards the Civil War. We'll get into causes, specific causes of the Civil War later, but events too, we're going to try and get to the election of Lincoln 1860 sometime in this group of lectures. All right, I'm going to throw up the whiteboard first. Let's see, with the terms, here we go. Towards Civil War vocab, we have tariffs. Remember, those are taxes on imports. The North favors them, the South doesn't. Abolition, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Gabriel Prosser, Nat Turner, Missouri Compromise. You've got them. Get that list down. Okay. And now we're going to talk about the changes going on in the nation, the differences between North and South, and what's pushing us towards Civil War. All right, there's competing economic interests. All right, continued westward expansion, and specifically and mainly the issue of slavery is going to divide America in the first half of the 19th century. 19th century is the 1800s. Remember that. All right. It's also going to cause the development of increasingly greater sectional tensions. Remember, sectionalism. Washington warned us about it in his farewell address. It's when you put your sectional interest, a section of your country, before your nation. All right, and sectional tensions during this period result in debates over the nature of the Union, similar to what happened in South Carolina during Jackson's presidency with the nullification crisis. Okay. We're going to see a series of crises and then a series of compromises. And most of this is going to revolve around the admission of new states into the Union, because it's very important for the South especially to keep a balance of power in Congress so that no laws against slavery can be passed. That's the South's concern. They don't want the Northern abolitionist movement or Northerners to be able to change laws in Congress. And they lose the House of Representatives fairly early on because population growth in the North and the West is going on at a much greater rate. There's more opportunity up North than out West. So they're seeing increases much faster than the South. We lose the House of Representatives in the South, so they have to maintain a balance in the Senate, where you have equal representation. All right. We're also going to see, like I said, arguments over the economy, tariffs. Northern states have developed an industrial economy based on manufacturing. They favor tariffs. The North likes tariffs. The South doesn't like tariffs because they have to import everything. They don't make much here. They're reliant on cash crops. So the issue of tariffs will divide the states. These economic divisions which separate North and the South cause many Americans to identify more with their section, okay, instead of their status as Americans. This causes the nation to struggle to resolve these sectional issues between North and South. And again, we're going to see crises and compromise. And the issue really revolves around the number of slave and free states, maintaining that balance so that there's a balance in the Senate and we can watch the legislation. Okay, and as this goes on, the conflict over slavery, as we're maintaining this balance, the conflict and disagreement over the issue of slavery grows more and more heated, threatening to tear the country apart. After 1830, the abolitionist movement grew in the North. Abolitionists were people who want to abolish slavery immediately, right? Emancipate the slaves, free the slaves immediately. Some names we should know on that, or some of the important leaders. William Lloyd Garrison. He published a newspaper in Boston in 1831, an anti-slavery newspaper called The Liberator. Okay, very important. Harriet Beecher Stowe in 1852. She's the wife of a preacher, daughter, I believe, of a preacher. Publishes the anti-slavery novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Lincoln will even say this is the woman that caused the Civil War. The novel is a bestseller. All right, and it really emphasizes the cruelties of slavery. It inflames and really gives gets a lot of support for the Northern abolitionist movement. Attracts a lot of people that previously didn't care one way or another, now become abolitionists. The Southerners are going to grow increasingly fearful of Northern abolitionist movement, the strength of it, and also worry about the violence of slave rebellions. And two important slave conspiracies you have to know is the Gabriel Prosser Rebellion in 1800. He leads a revolt of more than 1,000 slaves. It's put down by the Virginia militia. Gabriel Prosser's put to death. The more important one is the Nat Turner in 1831. Nat Turner leads a big rebellion. He arms slaves. He could read and write, which was dangerous. And eventually that one, he kills 55 whites. So that's a very important one. I'll try and continue with